What's happening, people? Today we're talking about Nano and everything about it. So what is it, how does it work, how can you use it, and where to buy it, all that good stuff. So let's start off with the goal or slash like the idea behind Nano. Right, so we'll start with Bitcoin. So the idea behind Bitcoin was you could pay anybody in the world instantaneously for no fees. And there was no like middleman in between controlling it, so like it was peer to peer, so I could send it to you without having like some geezer in the middle handling the money. So that was the idea behind it. Now, due to scaling issues and a load of other things, like Bitcoin has kind of stayed away from its original path. Like Satoshi Nakamoto's vision isn't really going into, they're trying to get it into a full effect, but at the minute it's not really working. So enter Nano. So Nano at the minute currently it's no fees, so it doesn't cost any money to send your Nano to people. You can just move it about. It's instantaneous, more or less, like takes seconds to send between people. And the last one is so with the Bitcoin mining and the the amount of electricity that is required for Bitcoin to run, it's staggering. Like it's increasing, it's just getting higher and higher. And like there's literally at the minute, like when Bitcoin's at its busiest, like it literally trumps the power consumption of other countries like Ireland. So like if one little currency is like using more energy than the whole of Ireland put together, like you're getting some like environmental problems here, aren't you? So I have done an article and a second video on environmental problems for Bitcoin, like pros and cons sort of thing. So check that out. It's on my channel. It's on my website as well. So Nano actually fulfills Satoshi Nakamoto's vision for now, and the environmental side, it doesn't require a ridiculous amount of energy to use. So rather than having like miners, it was actually so all of the Nano was it's already in circulation, but the way they used that was they distributed it through capture solving. So like, you know, your little robot capture things on websites, you could solve them and you get rewarded Nano. So that was how it like came about. But so this is where it gets quite complicated, so I am probably gonna have to like go through my notes a little bit. So let's talk about Nano versus Bitcoin, like the differences sort of thing. So so the scalability issues with Bitcoin, so when it gets busy, it struggles to keep up with demand, and when demand is super high, the fees start becoming ridiculous. So like if fees start going up, like it's just not accessible to everyone in the world. Like the whole idea behind like cryptocurrency is everyone in the world can trade and use money for free and instant, and it's instant. That's the whole idea behind it. Like if there's like a $10 fee just to move like £5 worth of Bitcoin, like you run into massive problems, and that's what's happening at the minute. So Nano is sort of like a different solution, really. So there's a few more things we need to talk about. Let me just like jog my memory. So I've already mentioned that bit. So we're going to talk about, let's go into how Nano actually works. Now, the key word you're looking for here is block lattice. So with Bitcoin and a lot of other cryptocurrencies, you'd have heard like the buzzword blockchain like thrown around. So Nano is different because it uses this block lattice technology. So let's try break the block lattice down. So it's very similar to a blockchain, right? So how do I word this? So it's very similar to a blockchain, but there are a few key changes, and these changes are very important. Like this is what allows it to work so well. So for now, anyway. So like bear in mind, Nano seems like the better solution for now, but it's not nearly as like widely used as Bitcoin. So they could run into the same problems. We don't know yet. We can't predict the future. But for now, it's clearly like a really good choice and a solution. So let's dive a bit deeper. So the way it works is for Nano's network, or for their block lattice, for their blockchain, whatever you want to call it. every single account or user, so say like me and you want to do it, every single one of us, we get our own chain allocated to us, and these are called account chains, right? So with this account chain, all of the transactions happen in your personal blockchain, your personal account chain. So the main Nano chain it's left clutter free really. So rather than having all of our transactions like sitting on the main chain just clogging everything up, the main chain, all that has to do is it logs the balance of each individual account chain. Does that make sense? Like, so every transaction we do is logged, but it's logged in our own personal chain, and every time you do a transaction, your account balance is updated. So just your normal balance, like a bank works, like your Nano balance is then added to the blockchain, to their normal chain. So that's how it works. And a lot of the problems. So another bit with this is that every time a transaction is made, so every time there is a transaction in the Nano blockchain, it's one transaction per block. Now this is very, very different to Bitcoin. So for Bitcoin, a block can contain thousands of transactions. Now you can sort of figure out why we have the queue times, the high fees, and the scaling issues, because if so many transactions need to go through, if this amount of transactions need to be added to a block before it's added to the blockchain. So when the block gets filled up with transactions, that's when it gets added to the blockchain. So it fills out like this with transactions, then you take this block and you add it to the blockchain, which then makes all the others like locked in place. Nobody can ever change them. So that's how it works. But with Nano currency, every transaction is its own block, so it can be like instant. Like you do your transaction, boom, that block goes onto the blockchain. So that's how it works. But with, like I say, with Bitcoin, you're waiting for this to fill up. So that's where the delay comes from. So that's like the sort of the idea behind it. So what else can we talk about? So how does it actually work? So when you're, say like you wanted to send funds to me, or I wanted to send funds to you, it requires two transactions sort of thing. So if I wanted to send it to you, I would be called a sender, and that would be a sender transaction, yeah? So I'm sending it to you, and you're going to receive it, so that will be the receiving transaction. When I send my transaction to you, I sign it, I put a little signature on it, like, that's what happens. And when you receive it, you put a little signature on it saying you've received it, so that's how it works. So the way it all doesn't fall apart is, if there's a transaction out there that doesn't have the receiver signature, like that's it, it's not gone through, it doesn't get added to the blockchain. So it only gets added to the chain when where's I going with that? Oh, come on. It only gets added to the chain when you sign for it. So the receiver needs to sign it. That's the idea behind it. It's sender and receiver. So I'm hoping you can get your head around that. I'm trying to explain it the best way I can. It's a bit difficult. So I mentioned the way they store it as well. So that pretty much comes down to like the block lattice really. So what one block transaction. So I'll end on this one because that was a bit messy, that bit. So let's add it on like one clean sentence. So one block transactions fix the scalability issues and the latency issues that Bitcoin runs into, because they're only dealing with one transaction per block. So that's the idea behind it. Blockchain just have too many transactions per block, so that's why there's some slowage in there. That's why it takes a while to go through. I also mentioned because we're using a significant less, like whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. Because we're using less, like the environmental impact is a lot lower than Bitcoin. Like, so this is like one of the solutions that's working so far, and hopefully it will continue to work. So I'll update you in the future if there's any like problems. So don't worry. So right, let's dive into how does Nano keep the network secure. So let's talk about like the security behind it a little bit. So Nano uses a delegated proof of stake system. So like, how does this work? So if there are transactions that are like conflicting with each other, the way this gets sorted is there's like a voting system. So how does this like voting system work? Let's figure that out. So when you make an account, you select a representative node. So like there's a lot of buzzwords in this video. So your account, you've selected your representative node. The more funds in the combined node, so say like there's a bunch of people, say like there's 10 of us all in this node, and we've all got like 100 nano in, he's got 200 nano in, he's got 700 nano in. The combined amount of that depends how strong your vote is. So let's like give you an example. So you've got two representative nodes, like there's much more, so we're just using this as an example. You've got two representative nodes. You've got node 1 and you've got node 2. Node 1 has 7 people in it, 7 accounts in it, but it's got 500 nano in there. Node 2 has got 3 people in there, but it's got 600 nano in there. Even though node 1 has got more people in it, node 2 has got more nano in it, so they get the stronger vote. So if there's ever like a conflicting problem, they have the stronger vote, node 2, the one with the most funds in. So the more funds you have in this system is like, it incentivizes you to like play fair sort of thing. So that's just how it works really. Any single person, anybody can be a representative node. You've just got to set it up. So don't be like, oh, well, it's just like some centralized thing. Like anybody can be one. If you want to be one, you can be one. And then finally, we'll end on, let's talk about, say like an attacker or someone malicious wanted to like fuck everything up for everyone. How is it prevented? So the way it works is a 50% attack. So say like someone put in a shitload of money and bought loads of nano. In theory, like a 50% attack could happen. So they could make a representative node, buy out more than 50% of like the whole nano marketplace and shove it on this one node and start having like, they've got power over it. They've got like the majority vote. They've got over 50%. But the problem is, in doing so, if you spend all this money just to get like an over 50% like market share sort of thing, like a share of the vote, like by doing so, you've put in so much money to try and achieve that you've just lost a shitload of money. So it's like you're attacking yourself sort of thing. So it's like kind of like protects itself really. So that's the idea behind it. It's working so far. The people in the space are like pretty decent. So let's go over the last few things. We've been going on a while. It's not as long as my other videos. Let's wrap it up now. So that was a bit of an information overload. I hope it makes sense. If it doesn't, shove a comment down below. You know how it works. So let's go over Nano's team and community. So this is cool. Like in cryptocurrency, each coin has its like a community behind it. So there's a bunch of people that share the vision of the coin. They've read the white paper. They follow every single step of it. They love it to bits, basically. So this is no different for Nano. But the thing with the Nano community is it's always out and about. It's always speaking to each other. It's always like they're always getting heard. They're so much more active than like 90% of all the other cryptocurrency communities. So they've got a massive community behind it, mainly because like Satoshi's vision is like being carried on through this. Like everything Satoshi stood for is like Nano stands for that. So it's like a lot of people have abandoned Bitcoin because of all the issues, and then people have gone to like Bitcoin Cash and like different ones, but Nano is like one of these up and coming ones that can solve a lot of problems that Bitcoin's running into at the minute. So you'll find them on Reddit, you'll find them on Twitter. Not only that, the community's sick, so you've got everyone like dead helpful. Businesses that use Nano, like everyone's just dead friendly in it because it's just the OG, it's what everyone's after, it's the dream really. If this works, like think of the global implications. If you can have everyone enter the global marketplace, think of like what that'll do for the world. Like the benefits for the world, like all of the world instead of half of the world entering the global market is just ridiculously like insane, man. Like there's just so much good that's going to come from it. So let's talk about the team and the developers. So if you go on the website, nano.org, you'll see, you can go through the team. There's like 13 members listed. They've all got decent, like, they've got proper stock photo, not stock photos, they've got real photos, you can tell it's them. There's no like Harold the meme guy just like pasting, there's no avatars, it's the full names. They've got the social accounts connected to it. You can look at their history, you can look at their experience, like what they do. It's just dead good, really. That's just like the website. You can also find a lot of the developers on forums. Like if you go on Reddit, on the Nano cryptocurrency subreddit, they're always chatting about in there, like they're literally always chatting in there. So go read what they're saying. They're always answering questions. They're dispelling like FUD. They're giving updates to everyone. Like they're pretty cool guys, really. Like a lot of people in the cryptocurrency space that are like quite up there are vouching for Nano at the minute, and rightly so, really, because they are doing stuff pretty well. What else? I think that's about it. Don't take my word for it. Go and do your own research. Like look at them, check them out yourself. Do some digging. Try find any dirt on them. Like it's your money at the end of the day. They just seem to be doing everything right. So recently they got announced. They got listed on Binance. Now, if you've looked at my other videos, if you've looked at my website, you know I'm a proper big fan of Binance. Like, they're just like one of the best cryptocurrency exchanges. They're leading the space, they're doing all the right things, the community love them. And for Nano, one of these sick community coins, to be listed on Binance, which is like a favourable community exchange, like, it's just a really good pairing. Like, nothing but good can come from that sort of thing. So, while we're on the topic of Binance, let's go on to how to buy Nano and how to store it and keep it safe. So make an account on Binance, like go check my channel, go check my website, there's videos on how to do that. Snatch it up, buy some Nano, wait for the right time, don't just like blindly fly in there. Try and like look at the graphs and stuff, plot when you want to go in, don't just blindly run in there. So when you do that, you'll have your Nano sitting in your account on Binance. Then what you need to do is don't just leave it there. So a lot of people leave the crypto on exchanges, but it's just not safe. Even though Binance are like sick guys, like they can be hacked, they can freeze your account, like anything can happen. So you're not like in charge of that Nano. And like with previous like history of cryptocurrency exchanges, like just be as safe as you can right now. There's a massive video I did on my channel, so check the how to keep your cryptocurrency safe guide I posted for a super detailed rundown of that. But to sum it up, if you go to the nano.org website, they list like a bunch of wallets you can use, so shove your wallet in there, keep it safe, man. There's desktop wallets, online wallets, like ideally you want to go for a desktop wallet and use the one like that they're suggesting. Like you can get some that other people have done, but just go with what nano.org are suggesting. Like they're not going to be malicious, like just trust them more than anyone else, you know what I mean? We'll end on, so that's it, like we've made it through. Let's end on some last words, and we're just going to talk about some interesting Nano projects. So I already mentioned like the way they use the capture thing, like the way they distributed the Nano with capture like solving was pretty interesting, I found. So like that can go in this category. Another thing I just need to throw out there as well is their main ledger is only under 2 gigabytes. So they've had over 4 million transactions go through on their like main chain, and it's still under 2 gig. Like that's just sick, man. Like their system is working. Like it's just a lot better than blockchain at the minute, and I hope it can stay that way. I hope they don't run into the same problems that Bitcoin have run into, but you never know, like they could do. So don't put all your eggs in one basket, all that usual advice. The last thing we're going to talk about is, so aside from like the instantaneous, like the instant transactions, the no fees, and like it's better for the environment than Bitcoin, all that good stuff. Let's talk about another like a cool partnership they did with OneUpCoin. Now, what this partnership does is, if you're all familiar with Twitch, like you know your boy is, like if you're familiar with Twitch, what OneUpCoin and Nano have done, they've partnered together so Twitch streamers can actually receive Nano for donations, and it's free because it's like Nano. So well, it's free to send, like the Nano costs money, like. But think of like, so you can like tip your favourite streamer with Nano if they've got it set up, which is just like insane. Like, think of the Twitch audience. You've got teenagers, you've got young adults. Like, those are the up and coming people that you need to be interested in cryptocurrency for like worldwide adoption. So like, if you can like get in there and start like influence it. It's like the Pornhub announcement. Think of all the people that saw the Pornhub and like the Verge cryptocurrency announcement. Like, just spreads adoption, man. So I thought it was pretty cool. While we're on the topic of Twitch, I stream on there. I like playing Overwatch, so come and chat crypto with me while I shoot some heads. We'll have a decent chat. Any questions you want. On my Instagram, I'm most active on there. Snapchat, all that good stuff. Twitter, you know where to find them. My socials are on my website or down below in the description. Come and have a chat. That's about everything. Can't think of anything else. Love you all. Mwah. Peace. That was the... What was that? Mwah. Like, you get it. See you in a bit.